What's up, Thumpers? Welcome back to another episode of Hyper Heroes here on Hyper RPG. So nice to see so many of you joining us live on this lovely Thursday night. We've got a fun-filled night talking about some superhero news. It's going to be a good old time. But first, we've got a very special guest joining us tonight. The writer, producer, host of the Only Stupid Answers podcast. DJ Wooldridge is here. Hey!
It's your boy DJ.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, you guys got a great setup here.
Thank you.
It's really nice.
It's pretty nice.
You're welcome literally anytime.
It's homey, but it's sexy. You know what I mean?
He walked in through the back and he was like, I was very apprehensive. I wasn't sure if I was going to break in on a family eating dinner.
I was pretty sure I was breaking in someplace.
It feels that way.
Yeah,
it feels
made
that
me a
way.
little uncomfortable.
Yeah,
You just got to push through sometimes, you know?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
do. So before we get started talking about news, tell the audience a little bit, what is the Only Stupid Answers podcast about?
Yeah, so it's about nerdy pop culture stuff, really. It's just me and my buddy Sam Basher. We like to talk about anything and everything. We just like to talk about. So our episode coming up on Monday is going to be talking about Deadpool, obviously.
Right.
After that, Solo. Really, you guys probably experienced this too. Summertime hits and your schedule's locked.
Yep.
Of well, I know what we're talking about
much.
week to week.
Oh, yeah.
So.
My comic reading schedule is locked. I'm like,
Yeah.
I got to get through all the Infinity stuff and then the Deadpool stuff.
Yeah,
and
do
then,
you do all the event stuff? Do you do all the?
I'm
you're reading
doing
for
it
the
now.
movies.
Well, yes and
Got
no.
it.
I'm actually going back right now, and I'm reading. Like I just showed you a video. I let my friend borrow Infinity Gauntlet, the 1991 miniseries. I'm reading everything that comes after that, and it's terrible, and I love it. All the Infinity War, Infinity Crusade, all the tie-ins and crossovers. Because I have the Marvel Unlimited app, so I'm just tracking down all these weird comics from 1991 and 2 and 3. It's great.
One of my first comics experiences was one of those Infinity ones where all the doppelgangers showed up.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I just read that. It's
That was
bad.
your introduction point?
Kid.
When I was a kid, I thought that
Jesus
shit was
Christ.
dope.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
thought
why
it was-
does Wolverine have 6 arms and
Yeah.
spikes on his spikes? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy one to jump in on.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hi, Mighty Wombat.
Before we get started, I just want to let you guys know, if you guys want, you guys can use the super chat tip. It helps to support the show, helps to support Hyper RPG, and any questions that you tip, we'll answer them at the end of the show. We're also going to be talking to DJ about his new comic that he's got coming out. It's really, really exciting stuff. Awesome. But so how long have you guys been doing this podcast now?
Almost 2 years. We just did our 100th episode. We did a big live event.
That's right, you guys did a live event.
Yeah, at Open Space, and so it'll be 2 years next month.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
man.
That's awesome,
It's been a minute.
Are you guys available on all the major platforms?
Yeah, well, you can go to onlystupidanswers.com, and that has all the places you can listen. That has our videos. That has our links to our Patreon and all that jazz.
Cool.
Nice, amazing.
Yeah.
We met. It's funny because I was telling you when you came in here, I had watched SourceFed almost religiously every single day, every single week, and then it went away.
Yes.
And we got to work at Screen Junkies very briefly together, but it was great to meet you. And then you hit me up, and you're like, hey, can I come on the show? I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah. That's right, baby.
I killed 2 channels within the space of 3 months.
No, don't you bring that on us, Ricky Bobby.
Hey, no, I was an employee. That's why.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Please do not cause the show to end.
Sorry.
DJ.
Well,
You'll never be invited.
Yeah, just don't hire me, I guess. What a great pitch. Hey, guys, it's a great show. Please don't ever hire me.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
man.
I bring death.
I know.
Like Thanos.
Or if you have a job that you hate, just call up DJ, be like, dude, can you just come and hang
You
out?
just come in and just snap your
want
fingers.
I want this job to end.
I need some of that sweet severance.
Yeah.
You obviously saw Infinity War.
Yes.
What were your thoughts on it?
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Great. First
All
story
right.
of the
Good
night.
review. Good
I
review.
enjoyed it. It's
Are you
tough.
sick of talking about it?
No,
'Cause
I'm
it's-
not necessarily sick
okay.
of talking about it because it's a lot of movie.
Yeah.
and
It
my
is.
opinions on it evolve over time.
Yeah.
and also
That's
because
okay.
it's so much movie, my brain slowly forgets the things that I didn't really enjoy about it, and just kind of gathers together the stuff I did enjoy. It's tough for me to be like it's the greatest thing ever because it's not a complete movie. It doesn't.
Right.
It's just
It's half of a story.
Yeah, it's not even just half of the story. It's like the middle. Like there's 18 movies that are the beginning,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
this, and then a movie after this. So it's like it's great, but it's like if you took the second act of a movie and be like, "Here's my movie," and it's like, well, that's cool, but it needs it's not a
needs
complete
bookends.
thought. It's
Well,
all
then,
I'm saying.
In that case, where do you stand if you're looking at the macro picture?
Yeah.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe, Infinity War included.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it?
I feel good about it. I feel like because I don't know what you
Okay,
guys probably did
okay.
the same thing where you watched the whole thing leading up to Infinity War week to week.
Not
we did
all
it.
of it.
We did it for Civil War.
We did it for Civil War.
Yeah.
Civil War's
We did a
great.
2-day
Yeah.
live stream.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, we did a fun thing involving magnets this year.
was
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
No,
We had a big whiteboard of just
right. Where
just
does-
verbally
do you
running
have the
through
magnets?
the MCU history.
somewhere.
Nice.
And as lead into
Well,
Infinity War.
so we did the watching a movie a week up
Yes.
until Infinity War, and looking at the big thing,
Yeah.
it's like it's really impressive the stuff that they've tried to do, and I think because tonally the movies are so similar,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it felt like maybe they didn't sometimes it felt like they didn't take risks, but you go back to the original Thor movie and it's like they straight went for
Oh.
full Thor.
Oh,
and like
yeah.
looking at it within the context of the other movies, it's like that's ballsy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Absolutely.
And so
Huge.
Guardians of
looking
the
at
Galaxy was risky.
Yeah.
Ant-Man was Doctor Strange was risky. Like they're all risky.
And God bless the MCU because for movies we enjoy with characters we enjoy, but also we wouldn't have the Arrowverse if the MCU wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have the jobs we have if the MCU
Yep.
wasn't a thing.
True,
You know what I
true.
mean? 'Cause
We've only been doing this YouTube thing only because the MCU exists.
yeah,
like,
because
Yeah.
people suddenly care about like the stuff we used to care about.
yeah,
You know what I
exactly,
mean?
exactly.
Yeah.
If you're happy the Star Wars movies are back, you should probably thank the MCU for that. You know what I
Probably,
mean?
yeah.
And generating interest in that type of
Yeah.
like,
Star Wars spin-offs. I mean, speaking of Solo, you can
Yeah.
thank the MCU for
yeah,
that. Yeah.
it just generated a whole different culture that we are now beneficiaries of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For better or
Yeah.
for worse, it created a lot of confidence in the industry.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
the ups and downs of that. You know, the Universal Pictures Monster Universe.
Yeah.
A little rocky start with the Mummy.
Dead on arrival.
Yeah, just a little bit. And you know, Star Wars, like, we got a chance to see Han Solo, and you
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
seen it yet, so no
Sorry.
spoilers.
Okay,
but
that's okay.
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
I thought
Does
it was
Chewie make it? No spoiler.
Yeah, right.
No
They
spoilers.
all died.
No.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Even Chewie.
it sounds dumb, but people did have a theory of like, what if that's the first Chewie and the one we know is a replacement?
I would love one
The
of these
son of
prequel
Chewie.
movies to pull like an Inglourious Bastards, and
Yeah.
suddenly somebody
Yeah.
comes out and
You're like,
shoots
huh?
Chewie to death, and you're like,
yeah.
what's happening?
And they're like, different timeline. It's
Yeah.
Star Trek now. What? Hey, thank you
Yeah.
so much. Chantel, you're the best. Thank you very
Thank
much.
Thank you very
Chantal.
much.
All the way from Australia.
Missed you
But-
heaps as well.
But yeah, speaking of balls, even though like the way Infinity War
Yeah.
wrapped itself up,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like we know it's a part one, so we
Right.
get to do this.
That
Yeah,
Empire
exactly,
Strikes Back ending.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even speaking of like the industries that are affected by the things that you guys are talking about, like even with Warner Brothers deciding to make movies of Wonder Woman, thank God, but other superheroes that aren't just Batman and Superman
Yeah,
because
right,
they're
right.
used to those being movies, but they had to have people tell them over years and years and years, like there's other characters y'all could be making
Yeah.
money from.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like you can thank them for finally greenlighting some of those movies, however you
Right.
feel about them, but then even the effect of those movies, then you can thank like DC Rebirth, the comic book line that was
Right,
in a lot
right.
of ways a response to that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like a lot of that, just like getting it together and having great stories come from that is all coming from how pop culture has evolved and is
It's
in
so
its
weird
ways.
to think about that. Like at the end of the year, we're gonna have an Aquaman movie,
Yeah.
I
and that
know.
it might be really good.
It might be
I hope
really
it's
good.
really
like,
good.
Yeah.
That's nuts to think
And
about.
next
like,
year we might get a Shazam movie finally, and it
Yeah.
also might be really
Yeah.
good.
like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
but also the Arrowverse
died.
for sure. The Arrowverse.
It's
stuff
exciting
is-
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's, all that
Yep.
that exists because the MCU proved that you could do it. You, know
could
what I
do
mean?
it, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I'm not convinced that but like something like Infinity War, I'm not convinced that another franchise will be able to do the same thing.
I agree.
Right.
I
just
absolutely
I don't
agree.
think culture will let them
Nope,
do. I
you know
don't
what?
think like Marvel has a past.
I
of trying
challenge
these
I
things.
challenge you with one example.
Yeah.
Ready for this? 3 words. 4 words, including the word the.
Okay.
The Nintendo Cinematic Universe.
I'd
All
watch it.
leading up to Super Smash Brothers.
Here's the one
That's
problem.
the new Infinity War. That's the new
Here's the
Infinity
one
War.
problem: half the characters don't talk.
Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
undo that.
Yeah.
You undo it. You give a voice to Mario. You give a voice to Link. You
I'm
give a
down.
voice to Samus. You give a
Yeah.
voice to these characters.
I'm on
and-
board
yeah.
with that. I feel like some fans that are super picky would not
Oh.
be into
Oh,
it. but, like,
absolutely.
I'm all
absolutely.
for it.
But those same
I'm into it
fans,
too.
To try to put that in perspective, there are some fans that would go, no, Batman should only be a comic book character and exist in a comic book.
Yeah.
And then it's like we get the Dark Knight. So
Right.
I'm not saying that a Mario movie could be as incredible as the Dark Knight, but like
Right.
don't sleep on the ability of trying to adapt
Right.
those into a live action,
absolutely.
fun, superhero
sure.
style movie for everybody, all ages
What are
included.
your guys' feelings on the Mario Brothers movie?
Awful, I hate
The
it.
original, the
Oh,
one,
the
the
original.
90s.
I hate it.
I'm a
Breaks my
fan.
heart.
It's Blade Runner for kids. I
It
feel like
breaks
you
my
can't.
Blade Runner for kids.
As long as you don't think about it as Mario Brothers, but like a kid's
Right, you
Blade
see?
Runner, it's like
can't
this
do
is
it.
pretty great.
I've
man.
honestly only seen it as a kid. I don't even
Yeah,
remember.
I have not
I-
seen that as a full adult.
I was
so.
really. It ends on that cliffhanger. I'm like, I want to see what happens next. Not
I remember the
realizing
cliffhanger,
it
but-
Never will.
I, as a child, hated that movie forever of all time. As soon as they're like, "Your name's Mario, Mario, yeah, I'm Mario, Mario." I'm like,
Yeah.
"You're
done.
I
Yeah.
hate
You're
everything
done.
about this.
Yeah.
I couldn't put myself in that. Just pretend it's not Mario. I can't.
I would watch. I would rather watch that hybrid animated TV Mario Brothers show before
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah.
Did you guys?
Yeah, that one. What?
There's 2 Sonic animated series.
Yes.
One of them was like really good.
Yeah.
Really?
Do you guys remember?
Was that the one that was
Yeah.
where he was
Oh.
voiced by Jaleel White?
Yeah, I
Urkel?
think he was released by voiced by
Twice?
Julia White. Excuse me, in both of them. But the one
Cool.
where he's hanging out with the other animals and they're
Yeah.
like fighting Robotnik.
and it's
Hold
like
up.
very post-apocalyptic. Like they're
Yeah.
hiding out
Yeah.
in a trash heap or something.
Yeah.
Have I completely derailed your show? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
This is we're all about it.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But let's get into the first topic of the night. We're going to be talking about DC Universe's new show that they announced, Doom Patrol. Hector, your wish has finally
I
come
know.
true.
I've been talking about this for years.
I said it last week.
You
Is
did.
that what I said? Last week on this show, I was like, I want them to make this a movie, this a movie, this a movie. I always shout out my favorites, which are like Blue Beetle Booster Gold.
Yeah.
I want Plastic Man to be a movie.
Yeah.
I want Doom Patrol to be a movie. It's just my dreams for like other characters in the amazing DC universe that I think deserve movies. And again,
Yeah.
just talking about that MCU, like what would be the MCU equivalent to like a Guardians of the Galaxy? It would be the Legion of Superheroes 3,000 years in the future, whatever. Like there's just so much to mine there. So yeah, a week ago I said Doom Patrol could be a thing.
Yeah.
And then they announced it as a live action
And
series.
now they announced it as a 13-episode, 1-hour-long show. It's going to be executive produced by Jeff Johns, Greg Berlanti, who obviously is now, I think this is going to be, or he already now has 14 shows on network television, including some of the superhero shows that we all have come to love from the Arrowverse, which is absolutely insane. I guess production will start later this year. And it's going to spin out from Titans, which is super interesting.
Because they announced a while back, Jeff Johns took a picture of that script that there was a Doom Patrol episode of Titans.
Yeah.
And it's weird that they're not waiting to like, how are fans going to respond? You know what?
They're
Never
just
mind,
doing
we're
it.
doing it.
I love it though, man. That is ballsy. I
It is
do love
ballsy.
it. I do
Yeah.
love it. I
Yeah.
feel like it shows that they have the foresight to where they can go with these kinds of stories.
Right.
Yeah.
That they have that planning taken care of, because all this is just planning.
Yeah.
And so much of the planning is already
Exactly.
done in the comic books inherently.
Right.
So you just have to follow
It's
through.
just production work that I feel like for some reason is falling apart in the movie universe, but in the TV universe, they're like, yeah, we got this. Like all the
You need that
like time
strong-
traveling, we got it.
Yeah, you need that strong like producer force. Like the Marvel movies have Kevin Feige and they have Greg Berlanti, and that's that.
and
that's
Jeff
that
Johns
guiding
when
hand.
he's assisting or whatever, like
Right,
when he's
right,
involved.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know a lot about Doom Patrol. All I know is that there's like 7 different iterations, like 7 different phases of the Doom Patrol with a lot of different characters.
Yeah.
They also have an Elastigirl in there.
Yeah,
Is there like Pixar beef going on right now, or what? Is there like, are they fighting for this?
I feel like there are so many superhero names that get recycled, especially those types, the plastic type or the Elasta type, or you know, the Power Man type of names.
Yeah, like Robot Man. Robot Man is on is one of the one of
so
like,
here's the
We
roster
could
of
get a live
characters.
action Robot Man.
yeah.
Here's the roster of characters that they're gonna have.
Yeah.
So the Chief will obviously be leading the pack alongside Robot Man, Negative Man, Elastigirl, and Crazy Jane. Like I was saying, it picks up sometime after the events of Titans. Cyborg will be a featured character in this show.
That's
which,
nuts to me.
Which
That
is gonna
is
be nuts.
weird. Yeah.
It won't be Ray. It doesn't sound like it's gonna be Ray Fisher.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they've ever said anything about this being connected to the movie universe.
Yeah.
Especially when you have Titans and you have Dick Grayson,
Right,
Robin.
right.
There's no real reason to have that sort of tied together if in the movies they're establishing that there is no Robin and or he has previously died.
Yeah.
But here's sort of the synopsis of the show. Doom Patrol will find these reluctant heroes in a place they never expected to be, called to action by none other than Cyborg, who comes to them with a mission hard to refuse, but with a warning that is hard to ignore. Their lives will never, ever be the same.
Ooh.
This is crazy to me because I know with the Titans show, I was like, well, Cyborg's definitely not going to be a part of it because he's in the movies and they've made a pretty hard line.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be in this. And what weirds me out about it is they phrase it as if in this universe, Cyborg is a big deal.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
makes me think if this basically confirms that the Justice League exists within the Titans universe.
Yes,
I mean, it's kind of confirming it.
I agree with you, and I think to your point, I think also Cyborg has not been confirmed to be a member of Titans.
Yeah.
It's just the other characters that
Yes.
they've announced. And I think on the description of the character, it's actually written at the bottom part that Cyborg is a character who may become a series regular in Titans later on.
Wow.
So I think he's been elevated to the Justice level of Justice League.
Yeah.
And I think whatever happens in the story in the first season of Titans and maybe in the first season of Doom Patrol, he will then come into the Titans series.
I think that's fine. I have a love-hate relationship with the idea of Cyborg being on the Justice League because to me, in my heart, he's so a part of the Titans.
Yeah.
I love him on the Titans, but it now kind of reminds me of like characters like Spider-Man and Wolverine over at Marvel have been part of the Avengers,
Right.
but
Yeah.
Wolverine's always going to be an X-Man. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like
Absolutely, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fine if Cyborg is like a member of the Justice League, if he's like a Justice League affiliate, associate member, or part-time member, or full-time member, or he had a stint on it, whatever the case. But if he kind of ends up on the Titans, then I'm a happy camper. If it's him and Beast Boy,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
there's
Classic lineup.
The
Yep.
thing about the DC TV universe is that they never made really that distinction. Like, maybe the Justice League exists,
Right.
but there's no saying that this is the point where he is actually on the Justice League.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like on Justice League, the Teen Titan, not Teen Titans. What was that? Young Justice.
Yeah.
Where like the first episode takes place where they're getting initiated into
Yeah.
the Justice League.
Yeah.
But like one of them doesn't really make it, or like
Yeah.
maybe it's sort of like his weird coming of age story where he's about to go into Justice League, but then he doesn't make it, or like he's always fighting to get there and wants the rest of the crew to join him. It'd be an interesting story dynamic at least to kind of play
Plus,
with that.
I think it's super interesting that they are not. They're not really. They don't really seem to care what universe everything exists in. The Arrowverse is obviously the own thing. They just announced that Batwoman is going to be in the Arrowverse crossover.
That's another thing.
We don't know how connected Swamp Thing is to these other two shows. Doom Patrol and Titans obviously right now is the only thing that's really connected. Even Black Lightning for now exists in its own universe.
Right.
But I'm wondering at what point is DC, and I think they're sort of taking this approach with their movies as well, where they try to do an interconnected universe, and for better or for worse, it didn't work. And I'm wondering if they're now just looking at all the characters and all the properties that they have, and they're going, let's not worry about interconnected universes. Let's tell cool stories, and where we can cross things, let's cross things, but let's not force it over.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
I think that's really benefited the show. At first, I was bummed when like it became clear that Arrow wasn't part of the universe. But then you realize, I think it's once the Marvel TV shows kept going, and you realize it didn't matter that they were in the same universe.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Daredevil is definitely not going to be in Infinity War.
Right.
That what DC decided to do became more palatable because it's like, well, at least this way, I know it's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
And
It's the not knowing that killed us.
yeah,
Yep.
and
Yep.
so
Absolutely.
like what I'm interested to see is if the Titans and Doom Patrol take place connected to the Arrowverse or the Supergirl's
Sure.
parallel
Yeah.
Earth or
Because
their own little pocket.
it's so interesting that you bring that up because like I feel like they've already planted those seeds by just having Supergirl be in a different Earth.
Yeah.
And really it was the Flash that did it first when the Flash in season 1 or 2 or whatever was like, here's Earth 2.
Yeah,
because that
exactly,
really did open
exactly.
it up to where the Flash TV show retroactively said that the 1990 Flash was a part of the multiverse.
Exactly.
Yes.
Which means like, oh my God, then that means everything. That means
Lois
it's
and
all
Clark
like
and
Linda
everything.
Carter, Wonder Woman,
Yep.
even like the DC cinematic universe. It's
Yep.
the same thing.
They could
jump in and out, yeah.
And I think that slowly but surely, if it's been a rights issue, if it ever felt to people like Arrow was just the show that they were making about Batman, but they didn't have the rights to Batman TV wise, I think Arrow did eventually turn into what Arrow is. But like even throughout the show Arrow, at one point Oliver Queen does mention Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
He name drops him.
And Supergirl is basically all but said that Batman exists in that
And
universe.
we finally meet her
Right,
cousin in
right.
season 2. Like, and it was a thing where like they knew for Supergirl you could not do that show without mentioning. Are we still good? Or
Yeah, we'll fix it.
I
We'll
think
fix
we're
it.
okay. Our
We're
chat
fine.
just went out.
Supergirl couldn't be Supergirl without mentioning yes, Superman exists, and they had to
Right.
acknowledge that.
Right.
Even though they like it seemed like they weren't allowed to do Superman.
Yeah.
They still found a way to do the show. I think Titans is going to do the same thing. They even did it with the
Absolutely.
Teen Titans cartoon show, the original one. At first you watch it and you're like, wait, is this a world where no other DC superheroes exist? But how can there be a Robin without a Batman? And at one point, Dick Grayson Robin, who is that Robin, does acknowledge like I have a father, and then there was like bats.
Yeah.
So it's like they would hint at that, but it would all just be about its own
Absolutely.
characters.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Titans show can easily do that. They can say we live in a world where yes, there's a Justice League. We're not going to see them.
Yeah.
We don't have the budget for that, but like
we can talk about
we
it.
can talk about it.
They're
And
there.
and
Yeah.
I also think that the TV producers and probably the Berlantes and all those people have finally like built up enough goodwill with Warner Brothers, the movie studio, to just be like, guys, let us fucking do this. Like let us like name
Oh,
drop
yeah.
characters. It doesn't matter.
Being that
matter,
successful
yeah.
on
Yes.
television, I mean, why would you not? Why would you not
Audiences
trust them?
are more savvy now. They know
Yeah.
that there's a Henry Cavill Superman and
Yeah.
a Tyler
Supergirl.
Hoechlin
Yeah,
Superman
yeah.
on
Yeah.
Supergirl. Like it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
If
Yeah, I
people are
agree.
confused, what are you going to do? They're going to go
Right.
see Spider-Man: Homecoming and be like, "Isn't it Andrew Garfield?" Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
You're,
Yeah.
you're
Google
one of
that shit.
100. Everybody else is already on the train.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not a big deal.
You're the last one on. Do you guys think that Greg Berlanti's Booster Gold movie is ever going to see the light of day?
No.
Or do you think
I
that
hope
maybe
so.
do you think maybe it'll end up going to DC Universe, the streaming service,
Dude.
as a
It'll
show?
probably end up on most of his stuff
Yeah.
goes to TV. And again, I'm fine with that. I think they're doing good work with the TV shows.
We're getting the characters
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what kind of tone these shows have, what they're kind
Right,
of going for.
right.
They're going to be more closer to what we see on the CW. Are they going to be more like the Marvel Netflix shows?
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see where they land.
I hope
Yeah.
it's a combination of a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
I
me-
agree
me-
with that.
Me too. The only thing is that there's a lot of stuff to watch at this point.
Oh, yeah.
There's just too much stuff to watch at this point. I love that it's happening.
Yeah.
I just feel bad because I don't have the time to sit down and actually watch this stuff.
No.
I mean, we talk about that struggle all the time. You know, so many of you guys would like us to cover all the shows.
Yeah.
It is literally impossible.
Yeah.
We would have to have 100% free time outside of all the other things that we're doing in order for that to be to make that happen.
Yeah.
But maybe someday. I don't know.
If you have
maybe
a
one day.
significant other, I don't know if y'all do this. I feel like everybody in the world does this. You will also watch a show with them.
Yeah.
And
Right,
It's
right,
challenging.
exactly.
It's challenging because it's like, what do you want to watch, honey? Okay, we're gonna do a whole season of this, and you know in the back of your head you're like, I gotta finish Black Lightning, I gotta finish Krypton, and I've tried to pitch those kinds of shows to my significant other, be like, oh, did you want? We just finished this show, we just finished this 10-episode show on Amazon. Do we want to try this one? Do you want to try this one out? No, all right, that's fine.
Okay. Back to Friends.
Back, yeah,
Friends
exactly.
For the 10th
Like,
time.
yeah.
Friends for the 10th time. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like my wife just got into Legion, and she finally caught up
okay.
to
There
me,
we
so
go.
we were able to start like watching
There you
that.
go.
And so I was
That's
like,
the sweet spot when
Yeah.
one of your homework shows
it becomes
the
gets in
cycle. Like,
Yeah,
it gets in the
yeah,
cycle.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when
What-
she's like, "Is there a new Legion?" and you're like,
Yeah.
"Okay,
Let's go.
all right."
Yeah, and then it's a little bit of balance because sometimes you're both busy. So if it
Yeah.
becomes like a you watch together show, like,
Uh-oh.
but I gotta, for
Yeah,
homework,
yeah.
I gotta.
Oh no,
There's a lot of shows.
that's tough.
Yeah,
There's a
too-
lot of shows.
too many shows.
And for some reason, nobody wants to hear me talk about Barry, which is amazing.
Oh, we run into that all the
Yeah,
time.
we don't have time.
People
We don't
just
have
want us to
time.
talk about superhero stuff. As soon as we start talking
But
about something
Barry
like Tully,
on HBO, come on, guys.
Do you ever watch a
Come on,
show
guys.
and then pretend like you didn't watch that episode when your significant other's like, "Okay, I'm ready," and you're like, "Oh yeah, let's watch it." And you just
Let's
watch
go
that
for
same
it.
episode again. You're like, "Oh no,
I
crazy."
don't because I'm the one that's always behind.
Yeah.
So my significant other, she watched all of Runaways way before I did, and then
Yeah.
I watched it. She's like on the last episode. I'm like, I missed everything.
Yeah.
So you know,
You didn't miss
it's
much.
the opposite.
I don't have that. I don't have that problem because I'm alone.
Yeah.
Next topic.
You have us, buddy.
I know. Thank God.
And you have hugs.
I know, and I got dogs. So
And
the
dogs,
two
yeah.
dogs live here, so it's great. Marvel just hired some writers for the Eternals movie. There's obviously no confirmation directly coming from Marvel Studios. They're keeping everything under lock and key until Infinity War Part 2 or whatever Avengers 4 will be called officially debuts. These two brothers, Matthew and Ryan Firpo, they had a spec script on the blacklist at the very in the top 5, top 10 of the blacklist. One of the best unproduced scripts of the year. It's now at a studio, I think it's Mad River Pictures or something. Justin Kurzel, who directed Assassin's Creed, is attached to it along with Gal Gadot to star. Could be very interesting. The premise of that movie is an ex-Nazi captain navigates the ruins of post-war Europe, determined to atone for his war crimes by hunting down the surviving members of his former SS death squad with the help of a young camp survivor.
That sounds cool.
Sounds like a very intriguing premise.
Yeah.
I went on these guys' website. They do a lot of commercials. They've done stuff for Tinder and a whole bunch of other different brands. They seem like they have a very good creative sort of eye.
Yeah.
They're just potentially going to be writing the Eternal script, so I don't know exactly if they're going to direct. We won't know yet. I think it's too early to tell. But what's your guys' history or what knowledge you have about these characters? Mine's very. I basically knew nothing aside from what I read. This is a very obscure brand, but I know Bob Iger was talking about that there might be some obscure properties coming that may not necessarily replace Avengers, but they're going to be sort of the next big tentpole property for the studio.
The Eternals are really tough because you deal with concepts like reality. Like there's a guy for reality, and there's the Living Tribunal, which like judges things, and like each one of these super powered entities is supposed to be like the Omega level like mutant, but they can also be killed in some sort of way.
And then they're
But
reborn.
they're reborn in some. So I never got into the Eternals type stuff because it's very out there, like it's very conceptual, and it's tough to sort of really grasp onto.
Yeah.
The guy with 4 heads spinning around with no neck and
I want
you know,
it.
like face, and so
I
it's
want the
it's
Living
just kind of
Tribunal.
tough.
Yeah.
Is what?
I want the Living Tribunal.
Yeah, no. I mean,
want it, man.
I'm not saying it won't work. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's a really
Yeah.
tough concept to
It's-
put down on paper and
But
put it on film.
But like I want it. Like,
Yeah.
Like you
I'm
just
glad
want to
that-
see. You
I'm-
just want to see the.
Well,
the
no,
character.
like I'm glad we got Ego with the planet with the face,
Yeah.
but nobody
Yeah.
talked to the planet with the face.
Right,
That kind of
exactly.
bummed me out. This part is
Exactly.
like Thor's not flying
want
in
a
space.
one-on-one.
Yeah,
Right,
Thor's out
right,
in
right.
space talking to this giant planet, and that
Yeah.
kind of was bumming me out a little
Right,
bit.
exactly.
Fingers crossed, we get a Green Lantern Corps film that has Mogo, the living
Yes,
planet,
please.
and
Yeah,
he'll talk
yeah.
to Green Lantern. He doesn't have a face, but
Yeah.
he still
He
is a
just
planet.
You can give him a
he
face.
pulses a little bit.
He
a little
pulses.
bit.
His
Yeah.
plant life grows
Yeah,
and stuff. Yeah, Eternals is weird. I feel like it's a combination of ideas that writers and artists had when they were doing stuff for Inhumans
Right,
back in the
right,
60s
right.
and 70s,
Yeah.
and when they were doing stuff for even like the Asgardians.
Yeah.
And then you get this third group of characters called the Eternals,
Right.
which is another crazy like. It's a Stan Lee and Jack Kirby invention, I imagine.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
like,
It's
where-
very Kirby.
Where
yeah.
it feels like it's like a combination of Asgardians and Asgardian lore mixed with some weirdness of that the Inhumans have, but like mixed and said they're another offshoot of humanity.
Yeah.
So and the long history of the Eternals, I don't think there's ever been a writer that's really like nailed down like even Guardians of the Galaxy is probably as obscure as a property as the Eternals, but at least in like 2008, you had a couple of comic book writers and a bunch of artists work on this Guardians of the Galaxy series that kind of did inspire the lineup in the movies with Rocket Raccoon, Groot, and they kind of found something there. I didn't think it was amazing. I know some people really, really love that comic book run, but the seeds were planted at least for like movie people to go, oh, we've got something. I've never seen like the main character. Throw up a picture of the Eternals again. The main character is, if I'm not mistaken, I think the guy's name is Icarus. Is the main guy with blonde hair, and then there's another one that's like Makari, who's like has like super speed that's like crazy, way faster than the Flash super speed, and all these different like offshoots of humanity.
There's a character called Athena, not to be confused with Athena.
Right. So they're kind of godlike, but they're they're kind of not. And but in any case, none of those personalities of those characters ever shone through.
Right.
Even with like the Inhumans, there were writers that were like, okay, Black Bolt can't speak, and he's married to his cousin Medusa, and
That's
she speaks
a cool
for him.
Character
There's
trait.
a lot to mine from you. Like, well, these personalities are crazy.
Right.
I can mess with the personalities. Neil Gaiman wrote an Eternals comic book that I actually read, and I think the art was by John Romita Jr. It's probably my favorite Eternals thing, and it was like fine.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a tough pitch, but I have faith that Marvel, studios will know how that could work. I wouldn't be surprised if this is because the Inhumans got taken away from them.
Well, was it taken away from them, or did they because my impression was no, we don't want that, and then this is announced, and it's like, why didn't you just do Inhumans?
The question then is, if there was an Inhuman script or spec script for like a movie, and then the TV people that are head by like Ike Perlmutter or Jeff Loeb or whatever, Marvel TV, that like apparently don't get along with Marvel Studios, the movie people were like, no, we're going to do this as a TV show now. The question is, will Marvel Studios respect the canon enough to acknowledge that those are the Inhumans in their Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they can never do a movie? Or will they go, no, we'll just do Inhumans ourselves later, we don't give a shit, like because they haven't like, they're never going to acknowledge anything that happens in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Netflix, but they still, that the Marvel Studios people know that like, oh, Haley Atwell had 2 seasons of her own show. That's cool. Like, they have to be aware of what's kind of happening.
I think it's going to go kind of like the way Green Lantern went, where we have the show, they're going to let time pass, and we feel like it's the right time that people have kind of forgotten it. I mean, I forgot it the second we watched it.
Yeah.
But I think
they'll do the Inhumans.
Yeah, they'll be like, you know what? Let's kind of do Inhumans the Marvel Studios way.
The question is, with whatever they had planned for Inhumans, couldn't they maybe fudge it in a way where they could just get that with Eternals and still keep the continuity? I mean, and they could still acknowledge like, okay, then we won't do Inhumans. We'll do Eternals.
Of not doing Inhumans, and like I'm fine with it.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see if they do more stuff like this, because it does seem like, oh, we can't do Inhumans. Well, here's the Eternals, everybody's favorite superheroes. And so it's like, oh, we can't do Daredevil. Well, here's a Moon Knight movie.
Right.
Suck one.
We can't do X-Men or Fantastic Four. Well, here's this and this. And it's like, which is kind of shitty because I want X-Men and the Fantastic Four. It's supposed to be the mutants. Yeah.
They didn't work.
Didn't work. So
Hector, I just love watching those first 2 episodes with you, and as soon as the credits roll, let's get the fuck out of here.
Oh my gosh! Did you guys see it
never
IMAX?
talks like that.
Wow,
we did.
Yeah,
we suffered through it.
That's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire
Oh, it's horrible.
It's
I'm
worse
glad
than
I've
Iron
never
Fist.
seen it.
I think
Huh?
Yeah,
it's worse than Iron Fist.
I actually thought Iron Fist was very watchable compared to that.
Yeah,
comparatively.
Okay, compared to that,
Yeah, Jesus.
How did you? Scott Buck did Iron Fist, and they're like,
did
hey,
both.
Inhuman. You know what? You know what's another challenging property that we're not sure is going to work? Hey, man.
You know why? Because I've heard rumors that Scott Buck gets shit done under budget and in time. Sure. That's why.
That's actually a secret. Why. Whenever you watch a movie, you're like, how is this guy getting work under budget and on time?
Yeah,
100%.
That's how you do it.
Which is, hey, man, on the business side of things, that's not something to underestimate.
Yeah. I mean, it's all business. So, yeah, of course they love the guy.
If you're wondering why Edgar Wright didn't do Ant-Man, because it wasn't on time, and it probably wasn't on budget either.
There you go.
Probably.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I think the one thing for me when it comes to Eternals too, you're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. I think they made Guardians of the Galaxy, the concept, very digestible.
Yes.
Very easy to sort of explain. Like Peter Quill was this guy from Earth. He was abducted. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, because
Gamora is this. Nebula is that.
How do you make this digestible? The saga of the Eternals began millions of years ago when the cosmic beings known as the Celestials genetically experimented on humans, creating the superpowered and near immortal beings and a more monstrous offshoot known as the Deviants.
Right.
What? Cool. So what's the new X-Men movie? No, it was interesting because we already have the Celestials because of Ego. We've introduced that idea.
Right. And floating head nowhere is a Celestial's head.
Yeah.
That whole base.
So we already kind of introduced that with Guardians, and that's basically it.
And so where do you go from there?
Well,
It's like these guys, it's tough to keep going.
In the comics, at least I think it's Cersei. At least one of the Avengers
was an Eternal.
Was an Eternal. So
Okay.
Yeah,
you have
they could do
that if you're that
They
excited.
could do that. I mean, I really think like, look, I was talking about this at the last big movie fights event. And the question that I had to pitch, has it not come out yet on YouTube?
Fights. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought there was almost something else.
No, the big deal. I pitched that I think that in terms of the character of Nova, that Sam Alexander is an easier pitch than Richard Rider, is what I said.
Yeah. Echo.
A little bit of a delay.
You're the
Sorry,
best.
Lucas. Thanks, Lucas.
Listen, I warned you guys. I'm here now. It's all.
I know. It's all going down.
As nice as it seems here, DJ,
Yeah.
it's a very mom and pop situation.
Hey,
It's
man.
very mom and pop.
Very mom and pop.
It's a mom and pop shop.
I'm just saying, I don't know how you can. They'll have to fudge it to where maybe a regular dude wakes up and he's like, "I'm an Eternal." Like there needs to be like a connective
Yeah.
a way for the audience to get into that world.
It's tough to get
and
into
every
that world.
MCU movie so far has had that.
Yeah.
Even something like Black Panther, I think, did a really good job of like getting us to and then the character that everybody like, especially Americans, I think related to more was like Killmonger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
That was
right.
so smart to be like, okay, T'Challa is royalty.
Yes.
Might be a little tough to Killmonger.
Yeah,
You know,
right,
and
right.
with Thor, he has to come down to Earth and be depowered. He has to
Right.
meet Natalie Portman. These other characters have to scoff at his existence
Right.
for you to like buy the idea.
Yeah.
Scott Lang is just continually making fun of the Ant-Man
Right.
concept
Yep.
until he becomes Ant-Man. So they
Right.
found those entry levels. And I think they'll have to do something like that with
The
Eternals.
timescape is just too big. Like we're dealing with millions of years before humans were around.
Right.
That's a tough concept to grab. Like last year's a tough concept to grab for me. I can't imagine millions of years ago. You
They're
know,
gonna need a Power Rangers level like prologue. To
Yeah,
everything.
that was dope, though. I really like
That's
that.
probably like my favorite part of that movie.
Oh, the prologue? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Rita.
That was great.
I will stop you, Rita.
yeah.
That was pretty good. Here's another series that I don't know how to feel about. I'm
Oh, I know how to. I know how you should feel about it.
I know. I know how to feel about it, but I wish I wasn't feeling that way about it. Batman's Butler's getting a TV show.
Christ.
Yay!
Cool.
Pennyworth is going to be a new 10-episode epic series that's going to chronicle young Alfred's life before he mentors Batman.
That they're gonna turn into a Batman show again.
Damn it, I hope not. So my big reason why I'm not excited about this is it's being executive produced by Bruno Heller and Danny Cannon, who are I don't know if Danny Cannon is involved with Gotham anymore, but nevertheless they had helped create the show Gotham. Danny Cannon will direct the pilot. Hey, calm down. We just live in a zoo.
Yeah.
I don't. Here's the thing. Like, I love the concept that they're going with. So it's basically going to be about Alfred as a former British SAS member, and how he sort of puts a team together, and he goes to work for Thomas Wayne in 1960s London.
No.
Yeah.
I like everything. I like everything leading up to the part. I love the whole British SAS thing. I like that.
Yeah.
But the part that kind of loses me is like 60s London and Gotham showrunners.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
so-
And here's the most bonkers thing ever. The series is not a spin-off of Gotham.
It is
I'm
not.
Like, what are you?
Son
what?
of a-
Yeah.
It's not.
Give that
it's gonna be a
give
brand
that
new
actor a
Alfred.
show. Give that guy his own show. The Alfred actor
Sean
from
Pertwee,
Gotham.
yeah.
He's great.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's like, hey, what if we did Haley Atwell, or we did Agent Carter, but
Yep.
instead of Haley Atwell, we followed Jarvis. And it's
You're
like,
right.
I
Yeah.
don't care.
It seems like too much of a stretch to connect what could be just like a fine show. It's a fine concept. A British SAS soldier, right? There's the art from Batman Year One. I
Great.
knew that's what they were going to base it off of.
Yep.
That art's by Gary Frank. I love it.
Yeah.
And that Alfred is a badass in that version of.
Yes.
But you know what that story is? It's fucking Batman Year
Yeah,
One.
right.
Earth
Yes.
One is what it is. It's Batman
One.
Earth One.
Yeah.
Batman's in it. To have that Alfred, actually like butt heads with young Bruce Wayne as he's figuring out Batman is the best. But this looks like it's we got the script for this really great show. You know, the only way we can get it greenlit is if it has something to do with Batman. All right, then change this character to Alfred. But it's set in the 1960s London. We don't give a fuck.
Doesn't matter.
Who gives a shit? So it's way too much of a stretch. It frustrates me to no end. It's a bummer.
But don't worry, it's on Epix. You weren't going to see it anyway.
No.
No, Hector
No,
is
true.
probably gonna watch it.
It's only 10 episodes. I'll watch that.
Probably,
That's
yeah,
terrible.
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
bingeable.
You're
I'll power
probably
through
gonna
that.
watch
Yeah,
it.
I got like a few episodes in the crypt, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need this.
Really, it was very
Spoilers. They just revealed that Superman's grandfather is the son of General Zod.
The son? No, the
Superman,
father.
grandfather.
Sorry, the father of General Zod. Yeah.
Yes.
Superman's
Yeah.
father.
Zod is his uncle.
Yes.
Okay.
Zod, as we know.
I will
You
say-
know, the one thing that almost
I
got me
don't
back in
hate
is when I
that.
found out that Zod also went back. I'm like, that's
Yes.
an interesting story.
Yeah,
beat.
he goes- he travels
and
back in
I found
time.
that out, and I still have not gone back and watched it because I
Yeah.
Legion's on. Also, Barry on HBO.
Barry.
You know what I mean? Like,
Barry. And he's not talking about Barry Allen, the Flash.
No.
Barry,
No, yeah.
starring Bill Hader
Yeah.
on HBO.
Yeah, I
8 episodes, a half hour. Anyway,
I don't know how to feel about this show. Like I love the concept of British SAS Alfred. I love Alfred. To me, he's like the Chewbacca of the Batman universe. He's a great supporting character.
Yeah.
We really don't get to spend a lot of time with, and we don't really get a lot of backstory. I would say that Jeremy Irons' Alfred is maybe maybe even Michael Caine's is like
Michael
the most
Caine
backstory.
is-
Michael Caine
we've
was
got.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Caine. When I was in Burma,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
exactly.
a ruby the size of his face. Yeah, that's the
that was
most.
good.
And then he
That's
sat
the
on a
Michael Caine.
turtle.
Yeah, his head on a turtle. Yeah, exactly. He's Austin Powers' dad.
Between
That
that and Patton Oswalt's little tirade on
God,
Dark Knight, I
thank
want
you.
to watch that movie again.
Oh, Dark Knight. I thought you were
Yeah.
gonna say.
Listen,
thing
we already
with
had
that.
Lucas throw the
Lucas had to-
tablet.
Yeah,
Lucas had to
Lucas
sit
already-
down
So-
to the B
Just turn
team
down
to
the
try to
TV.
figure this
Just
out.
turn down the volume on the TV, and you'll be fine.
I thought you were going to mention Patton Oswalt's other tirade from his classic stand-up bit where he talks about how the Star Wars prequels were a bad idea, or that
No.
anytime they do a prequel is a bad idea because and he makes a joke. He goes, "Hey, do you like Angelina Jolie? Well, here's John Voight's balls."
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
We don't care about the
Yeah.
thing that happens before the thing.
Right.
Because that's also actually a problem I have with a lot of origin movies. Is typically the origin is just Doctor Strange is a fantastic example of this.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange's origin just exists to get to Doctor Strange.
Right,
It wasn't
right.
somebody wasn't like, I have this great story. They're like, no, Doctor Strange is so cool. How did he become Doctor Strange? He's a surgeon and he hurt his hands, but
Yeah.
that doesn't
Accident.
matter because
Yeah.
he's Doctor.
True.
It's like if somebody was like, hey, we're going to do a Doctor Who movie, dope. It's going to go back to his time on Gallifrey before he steals the TARDIS. Guess what? I stopped caring. That's not the part that's interesting. You know what I mean? And so to go even before that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the boring stuff.
Yeah.
If they're like,
Yeah.
if like Marvel TV was like, we're gonna do a show about the Ancient One.
Right,
Just the
right.
person that's waiting around for the superhero to enter the picture.
Yeah.
Like, let's follow their
The
lives.
series
for-
finale. we know
Now,
where
wait.
it
To be
goes.
fair, though, that was Tilda Swinton, and in my opinion, she was easily the best part of that movie. So that I would
dope.
maybe watch.
She was dope.
Yeah.
It's not about you. Yeah, she was dope.
Yeah.
But
I'll actually disagree with you on Doctor Strange specifically, only because I think in the case of Doctor Strange, none of his other stories after his origin, to me, are iconic enough that they went straight to that. I think that his origin, like Tony Stark, is a great way to get you on board with that character. And what I'm saying is his origin is my favorite Doctor Strange story.
That's fair.
Do you see what I'm saying?
That's fair.
Yeah.
My favorite Doctor Strange stuff is functions more like the Doctor Who, where somebody's dealing with your
Yeah.
your in character is your companion, and they're
Right.
like, I don't know how to deal with this, and then Doctor Strange is like, Hey guys, I'm here.
I have all the answers.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's my
Yeah.
that's my
The
favorite
recent-
Doctor
And it's
Strange.
gonna be summon a
recent,
demon. That's
the
the
recent
answer.
Dan Slott Silver Surfer comic book is
Yeah.
that, where Silver Surfer is Silver Surfer. There's no origin, but he
Right.
gets a human companion, and she's like, "What the fuck is it?" And they're
Yeah.
just doing space shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
And
kind of like
yeah.
if they get the Fox rights and they're like, cool, we're doing a Silver
Norrin
Surfer.
Rad.
We're going to do a Silver Surfer movie. And it's
Right.
like, no, do Fantastic Four, introduce him in that,
Yep.
and then have him just be cool. Like, just
Yeah.
cut to the cool shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't need
Yeah.
any of the,
Yeah.
he's dicking around on his planet and he has a girl that he loves, and then Galactus shows, I don't need it.
Yeah. No, we don't need it.
No, thank you.
We
No,
don't
thank
need
you.
it at
No,
all.
thank you.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Kevin Feige's comments about Miss Marvel in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige was on BBC and he revealed that, they're making a Captain Marvel movie. It's currently in production with Brie Larson. There are sort of plans to debut Kamala Khan sometime down the line. I feel like Kevin Feige is the one producer in Hollywood that I trust that even when he says sort of, maybe, possibly, it's going to happen, but he just doesn't want to confirm 100% because then the next question will be when.
When? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Somebody he had a good quote one time because he was talking about like it'll maybe happen, and then he clarified. He's like, somebody asked me, will Superman ever be in the MCU? He'd be like, it could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
That's just his response.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
But that's the smartest way to respond to something
Yes.
like this. He's
Of course
so
it
good
is.
at knowing what to say, even if he's bullshitting out of his teeth. It's like
Yeah.
it's like that's the right thing to say because it creates interest.
Yeah.
It doesn't shut something down.
Right, right,
it's,
right.
It's not as definitive as no, that's not connected.
Right,
Which is like
right.
that just bums people out, and you don't want that feeling before like a movie comes out.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know. So and producers have done that in the past accidentally. They've been like,
Yeah, yeah.
no, that's not the case. And then people
Yeah.
will be like, oh, well, maybe this producer didn't know, but like this is a huge deal to comic book fans.
Right, right, right.
And
It's
they,
kinda like
the
Spider-Man
movie
Homecoming.
fucked it up.
Yeah.
Where they kept having the interviews and the producer kept saying, Venom is, or Spider-Man is, but isn't connected. Venom is, but isn't connected.
Right.
And you see Kevin Feige sitting there just going, let me answer these fucking questions.
I feel
he knows what to say.
like if you ask Kevin Feige about any of the Marvel characters at this point, he's going to say, yeah, it's in the works. Of course it's in the works.
It's on our whiteboard.
Like Kevin Feige's the type of dude who's got the next 20 years planned out in his head already.
Hasn't he even said that about the Netflix Daredevil stuff? Hasn't somebody asked him about the Defenders and he was like, never say never?
That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
he's like,
actually,
never say
right.
never, but then
Yeah.
but then he clarified with like, but if you ask me about Superman, I'd also say
he
that.
said that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
Sure.
I feel like people just took this and ran with it because that's what they wanted to hear. It's Ms. Marvel is probably not coming anytime remotely soon.
You might get this movie set in the 90s. You might get Captain Marvel saving a little Pakistani, right? Little
And
Pakistani
she'll be the mom?
girl, or no, like maybe a child.
Yeah,
and,
maybe.
or like a baby.
Maybe. Yeah,
super.
that is Kamala Khan.
So maybe
Yeah.
it is the mom.
Yeah.
Some sort of like, because if they were to introduce it, it'd probably be like movie 2, and then as cool as it would be, it's like Miss Marvel probably wouldn't get her own movie. They probably do like a Young Avengers with her and like Iron Lad and
Maybe.
Hulkling and stuff. You know what I mean?
I think the fact that she is like the most preeminent Muslim superhero, she might get her own movie.
And one of the coolest new characters, one of the most popular new characters.
I
She's
feel
only been around
like,
for like 5 years, right?
Yeah, but she blew up immediately because her stories were good.
the writing and the art is really, really good in her comics. And look, Spider-Man: Homecoming had a Miles Morales name drop, kind of.
Right.
Yeah,
I 100% believe, of course, these guys have this planned later on down the line. I'm already thinking, like, in the same way that Kamala Khan was part of the Avengers with Miles Morales, or the Champions now with Miles Morales and other teen superheroes.
Yeah.
Peter Parker is their first teen superhero in the MCU. Right. You better believe that can branch off to other types of characters. And at one point, Spider-Man might be on an Avengers team or the Champions or some other the New Warriors with Kamala Khan. Then she shows up, and I think that having Aaron Davis in Spider-Man: Homecoming is proof that Marvel's already thinking ahead.
Absolutely.
And they know how important Miles is to a lot of different people, a lot of different audiences. I'm sure they know the same exact thing is true with Kamala. So it's like, but you do need to have Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel first before you, especially with Kamala Khan. You can maybe make an argument for skipping Peter Parker and going right to Miles Morales, but I love that they decided to go with Peter first because I'm hoping we get the death of Spider-Man where he fucking dies and then Miles is doesn't do anything and then that becomes his Uncle Ben moment.
Yeah.
Because that shit makes me tear up every single time.
Yeah.
And I
That's
want Miles
the best
to be
way to hand the
best. Yeah, I want
character
Miles
over,
to be the only Spider-Man in his world, but we might get that in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like an animated thing.
I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, that looks really
looks
good.
Yeah,
really, really
looks
excited
good.
for
But
that.
Kamala Khan, I think it is going to happen, and I didn't know this next part, which is putting tingles in my jingles.
Well,
man.
before you mention that, the other thing that I really like about Miss Marvel is that Miss Marvel is inspired by Captain Marvel.
Right.
And I think the big difference between that and Captain America is that, yes, I'm sure Sam and or Bucky are inspired by Cap and want to take up the mantle, but it's also almost like a passing of the torch.
Yes.
Whereas with this, it's a same thing, but it's more inspire driven. And I like that. I like seeing somebody who somehow gets these abilities. In her case, she gets them from the Terrigen Mist, which
will probably be different.
Yeah, which will probably be different.
Most likely
yeah,
be
most
different,
likely.
yeah.
But I like the fact that this character becomes then inspired to sort of become her greatest inspiration, and work probably in the movie universe, work alongside Carol Danvers and the new Avengers, who under the roster ends up being.
How great would it be if Brie Larson got to do 2 or 3 Captain Marvel movies? The first one comes out next year.
Right.
It's set in the 90s. Then she's in Avengers 4.
Yeah.
And then 2 years after that, we get a Captain Marvel 2 where it's like she's in the present day.
Yeah.
And then maybe Kamala gets her own movie. And imagine that Captain Marvel takes off as a character, which I'm really hoping that version of Carol does. Kamala Khan gets her own movie. At the end of her movie, Carol Danvers shows up.
Yeah.
Like, it would be so great to sit through an hour and a half, 2 hours with this young Muslim girl who loves this superhero and loves the world of superheroes, but especially Carol. And then at the end, Carol shows up like, you're doing a good job, kid. Like, the audience would be like, oh,
To just be like, you're an Avenger.
dude, to have that moment with
Yeah,
Kamala.
exactly.
Congratulations, kid, you're an Avenger. Like, that would be so great.
That would be awesome.
So great.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the next phase is all up in the air, basically.
I know,
So
and
all
I
this
think
stuff could happen.
with the next phase, it's an opportunity for them to diversify from the ground up.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to hopefully embrace that.
We at least know for a fact definitively that there won't be another Black Panther and there won't be another Spider-Man.
Never ever again. They all died.
No, that's not.
We just know definitively.
James Gunn is writing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 currently, and the stars are going to be Rocket Raccoon and Nebula.
Yep. There you go. That's it. Congratulations,
and the ship.
And Adam Warlock.
Yes. Hey, listen, the handle of Iron Man's hammer is still around, so maybe you can put that in the ground and it can become another group, which will apparently be a completely different group.
It'll be a new group, but they won't get the axe out of his head, so he's always gonna be kind of like
that. Actually, pretty cool. I'm convinced those two major spoilers people haven't found in Guardians are things Groot says that in James Gunn's head are like Easter eggs. Like, how come people haven't figured it out?
Because at this point, I'm kind of irritated with the.
He's like, no one's guessed it. No one's guessed it. I asked James Gunn once, will we ever hear it? And I said, maybe like 10 years from now. You know, like on your deathbed, when are we going to hear about this? And he's like, maybe like 10 years from now if somebody doesn't get it. So we're going to hear it in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Maybe when it'll be a slow news day or when they're, I don't know, when they're promoting
they need to build hype.
When they're promoting Guardians of the Galaxy 3000, which will be not like James Gunn will be producing, but some other director and writer will come in and write a story about like future
in
versions.
An ancient tome that James Gunn left behind.
Yeah.
He said this.
And during the press, he'll reveal something. I don't know.
The other thing that's cool worth mentioning about this Miss Marvel story, Riz Ahmed went on Twitter and he posted basically pitching himself, Mindy Kaling and Kumail Nanjiani, asking Marvel, when are you guys gonna let us write this Miss Marvel script? Awesome. Mindy Kaling replied saying that she's read all Kamala Khan, she loves the character.
What?
And I think this would actually be. She says it would be really cool that she would love to work on it.
Did Mindy Kaling direct any episodes of her show?
I think I know she's directed and written episodes of The Office.
Yeah, so she was a main producer. She was and BJ Novak were two of the main producers on The Office.
There you go,
dude.
And you can even pull
I'm pretty sure she directed episodes of her own show.
You can pull an Aaron Davies where she shows up as the mom.
For sure. Right. Oh, dude. Oh, put Mindy in Captain Marvel in the 90s, and she's young and she's wearing 90s clothes, and then she can play the mom in the.
Yeah, she can play Kamala Khan.
And then let her write and direct.
Oh my god, can you imagine if Mindy Kaling and Riz Ahmed were the mom and dad? No, you know what? Riz is too cool. He'd have to be the cool uncle. They have like cooler.
Nanjiani plays the dad.
Kumail and Mindy. You know that they're gonna get every fucking Indian actor. Marvel's gonna pull out all the stuff.
It's gonna be
the Indian Black Panther. They're gonna get every. Oh,
everyone you've ever heard of, they're in the movie.
Yep, exactly.
And Hank Azaria won't be invited to the premiere. Just kidding. He might be. He's cool now.
Apparently,
he's cool. He tried. Yeah. He's trying.
That'd be great. But we'll see. Again, I think Phase 4 is going to be a lot of diversification of their roster.
Absolutely.
Or X-Men and Fantastic Four movies.
Yes.
Yes.
But all white X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? I'm actually, I was thinking about it as like, man, I wouldn't hate to see Spider-Man crossover with the X-Men in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be rad.
I would love that.
Now that we've got Spider-Man with the Avengers, I'm like, what else can you do?
The Marvel Cinematic Universe has become so successful, nothing else in Hollywood can ignore it.
Right.
I believe it's only a matter of time before Fox, even if the deal goes through with Comcast, whatever, before Disney's like, but just give us these.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It's only a matter of time before they do some sharing deal, because how else do you build hype towards a big moment other than new actor, unsheathing the claws, you hear the snicked, and standing next to Spider-Man. That's how they're going to do it.
Yeah, I think they're smarter.
Hulk versus Wolverine will happen.
Yeah, I think their smarter bet, as opposed to giving new characters the mantle of Cap and Iron Man and whatever, is just retire all those characters. Introduce. There's so many. Just introduce new, like the new Trinity is basically going to be Black Panther, Captain Marvel, and like Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
And just let those maybe do Bucky Cap, but let the rest of them lie for a decade until you feel like enough time has passed. That guess what? They're back, but there's a new cast member.
They could bring back Thor in such a big bad way with what they've set up. They could bring back like Asgard and Thor. Remember how much you like Thor, and we took it away from you. Where he's back after 10 years, and we're like, oh fuck.
The way J. Michael Straczynski brought him back.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what's up.
That would be.
I would not look, man. If Paul Rudd can take a pass on the Ant-Man script, if Edward Norton can take a pass on the Incredible Hulk, I would not be surprised if Marvel is for real reaching out to Mindy Kaling and Kumail Nanjiani and Riz Ahmed to be like,
absolutely.
do you want to be involved? Be in this, write it, produce it. Like I am pretty much guaranteeing that's going to happen, and that's very exciting.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
that would be
that's
cool.
good stuff.
That'd be cool.
And then it's our turn. Oh no! Wait, the Mexicans don't have anything.
No.
I was actually thinking about this because
Michael Pena. That's how we got his. Michael
Pena.
Pena.
I'm not thinking about.
Don't rub it in our face, DJ. All we got is Michael Pena.
You got the guy from. I'm so sorry, but I don't remember his name from Overboard. My wife loves that guy.
Eugenio Derbez.
Yeah.
Eugenio Derbez.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
Derbez gonna be?
Yeah.
No, anyway, but it's, I was trying to
The
think
new
of.
Thor.
I guess you've got the new Ghost Rider, Robbie
Gabriel
Reyes.
Luna.
But he's on TV, so that's not
Right.
gonna work.
It's still something, you know.
And he was dope in that show. That was a really good take on
I'll
Ghost
tell you
Rider.
what, if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think they're only doing one more season,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if those same people, to keep the production going, they're like, coming this fall to ABC, Ghost Rider.
You could
And
do
they-
it.
you know,
I'm
yeah.
shocked that they haven't announced it.
I bet you they will.
Because I grew up in the '90s. My favorite Ghost Rider setup was Danny Ketch being trained by Johnny Blaze.
Yep.
The way they set him up, you could just Danny Ketch, and just have it be Robbie Reyes and Johnny Blaze as his mentor.
Yeah.
I'd watch the hell out of that show.
And I'll one up you on that. Make Danny Ketch the bad guy.
Boom.
Make it like the evil Ghost
do I
Rider
like
that.
Danny Ketch.
But
That's the
we
best.
can redeem him. But he'll be like the spirit of vengeance.
That's
You know
my
what I'm saying?
Ghost Rider, man. Don't do
All
that
right.
to
Well.
me.
And then,
That to me, Hector.
I don't even remember. You remember Vengeance with the
I
spike
remember, yeah,
mohawk?
he's so stupid.
I loved it.
Yeah, I know.
I
but
loved
maybe
it.
you
I
can
loved
make Danny
it.
Ketch. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who Vengeance was
No, I don't
outside of
either.
that.
Yeah.
it
Make
didn't
Danny
matter.
Ketch.
It was a guy. It
Yeah,
didn't
it was
matter.
just a guy with the
Yeah.
spike and he had a different spiky motorcycle.
Yeah.
Like that was
Done.
it.
There you
And
go.
we
Yeah.
ate that shit up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved
We were
all
like,
that
oh,
art.
look at all the
for
trading
Vengeance.
cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We were so stupid.
Yeah.
We were so stupid.
Yeah.
Oh man, let's a little bit of a downer, but let's celebrate this.
Okay.
Margot Kidder passed away last Sunday on Mother's Day of all days. She passed away at the age of 69, born in 1948. Our Lois Lane, you know, I think for most of us that was our Lois Lane growing up. That's where I got my my fix of Lois Lane before
Yeah.
Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
Before the animated series. That's really what I grew up on, and for me, she was such an incredibly strong character opposite Superman.
Yeah.
She was just funny. She was strong.
Yeah.
She had this really sort of like great humor to her. She was like a no bullshit type of reporter.
Yeah.
Something that I kind of miss. I feel like we've kind of given that to certain variations or different incarnations of Lois Lane. The animated series to me kind of like hit it sort of the best.
Yeah.
I think Terry Hatcher also, but like to me, Margot Kidder was like my Lois Lane. I really enjoyed her. I know most people probably would, who at least watch this show, will know her from that. But she also did a lot of television here and in Canada. She was in the original Amityville Horror with James Brolin. A lot of acting credits to her name. But like for you and I got to see Superman in theaters like 3 years ago or something.
2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long had it been since you had watched that movie?
It'd been a really long time. I know I had seen it maybe like 2 years before that.
Yeah.
Because before that was I don't even remember seeing the movie. And so watching it was kind of like an awakening for me because I knew about Superman, but I never really. It was during that time when we first started the YouTube thing, and I still didn't really understand Superman. Like I just thought Superman was boring. But then going back and revisiting the character, I'm like, holy shit. This is one of the greatest characters we have so far. But in this movie, it really encapsulated like her balancing Clark Kent and Superman was an amazing feat. Like she did great and her performance was amazing. And that's really the only thing I know her from. But from watching that movie, I really got to appreciate through Lois, but also, through Christopher Reeves' acting, what Superman really meant to the world. So she had a real special place in this movie and in history of comic books too.
Yeah, for sure. What for you guys?
Yeah, I was
okay,
so
Hector?
happy. I was so happy.
Wipe his tears away a little bit.
I was so happy to see like people talking about her other body of work other than the very popular Superman films, which was great, and even her like history of protesting and being very like politically active.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
She
She was
had
just
she
like
had a rough time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Stardom hit her really hard, and she
Yeah.
didn't really know how to like deal with it.
And a lot of people that I was seeing, I saw like I think Michael Rosenbaum posted a picture of her like at a casino slot, and he was just like, I was at a convention with Margot Kidder and we partied and she's amazing. Like all of those kinds of messages to see people talk about she was a badass for being a part of this world, of this kind of weird superhero actory world that she was like really unique and really cool. So I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. A lot of the actors from that generation, like 69 is young.
Yeah.
A lot of the actors from that generation
Partied
I don't know what
hard.
they were up to because
They partied hard.
We're losing them.
Yeah.
They went through shit. It was a different,
Yeah.
and especially when you look at superhero movie actors then compared to now.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. is on like paleo, and they've got all of the, you know what I mean? They've
Right.
and they have all these people that are like, we need to keep you alive forever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so we're taking the best care of you.
Yeah.
And that was a different time. And
Yeah.
actors went through some shit.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And it was a sick environment then. In a lot of ways, it's still a sick environment now. But like
Right.
what they had to deal with then is like,
Back then, yeah.
if you think like Harvey Weinstein scene's gross. It's like, where do you think he learned it from? Like
He
everybody
learned it from fucking Cosby over here.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
In the 70s and 60s and 50s,
exactly.
Hollywood is like
Exactly. It's a gross place.
glamorous but gross.
Yeah.
The first Superman movie I ever actually saw was Superman 2, and I feel like Lois is like.
Oh yeah, she's
I mean, even
front
the
and
first
center.
one, but she's front and center in that movie, right alongside
Absolutely.
Superman. So I think a lot of that came, my love for that character and for her came from that.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough; I actually got to meet Margot Kidder a couple years ago.
Wow.
At WonderCon, where they did the big Superman the movie reunion panel.
Yeah.
I was on the floor walking around, and my friend Jim Bowers, he runs Caped Wonder. He's friends with her, and she came in. Just to say hello and the sort of stuff, and he introduced me to her.
Wow.
And I spent like about 10 minutes just talking to her about Superman and Christopher Reeve and how much I loved the movies and all that sort of stuff.
How did she reply to you? Was she still very into it, or
Oh
was she
yeah,
like,
she's
was she over it?
super enthusiastic.
That's awesome.
Aw.
That's
She
cool.
seemed to love. She really seems to love. Because there was an interview that I read. Then she actually thought the movie was going to flop. And I think back then that was very
What?
normal when it came to those types
Well,
of movies.
that movie was risky back in the day.
It was
Yeah.
super risky. 100%. But you can definitely tell she has a lot of love and respect for Richard Donner, especially for Christopher Reeve, for the Superman mythos and what it means. I mean, she was in Smallville in later seasons.
Yeah.
I don't know if she was. I don't think she was in Lois and Clark, but definitely in Smallville they brought back Christopher Reeve. They brought back a lot of the players from a lot of the
Still
Superman
remember that moment.
mythos. Yeah, it was so
Crazy.
great. So it's super sad. She was actually supposed to be at a convention, I guess, this upcoming weekend.
Wow.
And because of the passing, obviously,
I didn't know where you were going with that sentence. She was actually supposed to be here today.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Like
wish.
what?
I wish.
No.
But we settled for DJ.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
Jesus. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Last minute.
No.
But super sad.
Yeah.
Definitely young. If you are not super fresh with a lot of the Superman movies, you should definitely go back and watch the first two.
Yeah,
Two
absolutely.
very strong performances from her. They really gave the character a lot to do. 3, she's definitely on the back seat. It's Lana Lang front and center.
Yeah, is she even in 3?
She is, but very briefly.
Oh, okay.
She's in like 2 scenes.
And then is she in 4 or no?
She's in 4.
Yeah.
But they add another character, another love interest, and it kind of gets all convoluted. So 1 and 2,
Yeah.
Watch it, yeah.
watch the great performances between those two and a really cool chemistry and relationship between Lois and
absolutely.
Clark.
Yeah.
Before we wrap out, DJ,
Yes.
you came here to plug something.
What?
Let's talk about your
baby.
comic book.
Yeah,
man.
so I'm working on volume 2 of my comic book, Chaos Theory: Zombies versus Dinosaurs. It delivers exactly what the title suggests. There's zombies, there's
sick.
dinosaurs. We got our covers by Tom Neely, who's big in the indie world, and you can actually get some of his original art if you want. But yeah, so the first volume was literally just zombies and dinosaurs and a group of humans that desperately didn't want to be eaten, right? So volume 2. It gets bigger, it gets bolder, it gets crazier. We go from 36 pages for volume 1 to 100 pages for volume 2.
Nice.
We've got aliens. We've got time travel. We've got every crazy
I
big
noticed
idea.
you have a flaming chainsaw as well.
Yeah, a flamethrower chainsaw.
Nice,
Yeah, because our lead guy,
You do like Ghost Rider. You do
Yeah,
like
I
Ghost
do like
Rider.
Ghost Rider. Hey, man, I grew up in the 90s, all right? Ghost Rider and Evil Dead. So our lead guy, Max, he's kind of a mechanic. He's good with that stuff. So he combines a chainsaw with a flamethrower. He actually has a ride in this one, the meat wagon. He has a car that he souped up. And yeah, so each issue is kind of like its own big blockbuster. Issue 1 owes a lot to like Mad Max. Issue 2 is kind of like an escape to New York thing. Issue 3, they go up into space and they deal with aliens. And it all one idea flows into the next until the big climax at the end. And so it's just a lot of fun to write, and it's a big one. It's a big, like, because I'm just the writer, so I'm trying to pay my artist and my colorist and my letterer all decent rates and everything, and my cover artist and all that jazz. And we got amazing prints from Derek Robertson, who co-created Happy and The Boys, and The Boys is getting a series soon.
Shit, that's right.
And Brittany Williams, who co-created Goldie Vance, who that's becoming a movie soon.
Yeah.
So this is all stuff you can get at chaostheorycomic.com.
Nice.
You can get a digital copy of volume 2 and volume 1 for $15. If you just want a hard copy of volume 2, that's as low as $20
Nice.
plus shipping, and I sign it. And there's chances to get volume 1 as well if you're like, I want the whole thing. So there's just a bunch
Absolutely.
of different things you can get. And yeah, so go to chaostheorycomic.com. And for your listeners, watchers, everythingers, if you contribute $20 or more, because that's when you get a physical thing that I send to you, and you go into the comments on Kickstarter and you're like, hey, I'm from Hyper Heroes. I'll put in a postcard map of the United States in this universe. And if you're looking at the map right now, it's the undead states of America, and things have happened lot.
Have we floated off into the ocean?
Yeah, look
We
at
floated off the ocean. Hey man, you're doing better than Florida.
Florida's gone.
Yeah.
I didn't even miss Florida.
Florida is gone.
Yeah. So
Sorry, Disney World.
Yeah, somebody call my parents. So
That's so cool.
yeah, so that's a ton of backstory because each issue has so much packed into it. There's stuff that just couldn't make it. So that map has a ton of backstory that's not in the comic.
It's very Old Man Logan
Yeah,
vibes.
it
Yeah,
is.
the Old Man Logan's a good
little
side.
that little map in the beginning. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what we're in for. Cool.
Yeah. You know, if you see Deadpool this weekend and you're into that and kind of like the crazy, kind of
Yeah.
like tongue in cheek, not taking itself too seriously, over the top violence and stuff like that. This is right up your alley. Old school. The thing I compare it to the most is like old school Ninja Turtles,
Nice.
where it's like
Yeah.
a really crazy concept
Yeah.
and maybe
Bonkers.
a little bit too violent for its target demographic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A
Like
little
that
bit, a little
type
bit.
of, or maybe Samurai Jack is another good example,
Okay,
where it's just
yeah.
every crazy idea that you could fit
Yeah.
into
Nice.
a thing. So if you're into that, any of that stuff, go
Cool.
check it out. We've still got a few more days left, and we need the support to make it happen because again,
Nice.
all these artists need to get paid,
Nice.
and
Yeah.
so if they don't, it doesn't happen.
Guys, art costs money.
Yeah.
It costs money.
Hey man,
Talented artists
Talented
are
yes.
worth the cost.
I bought Grizzly Shark, so this is right up my alley.
Yes.
You know
Man.
Grizzly Shark?
Yeah.
Ryan Otley's like solo venture where
Yeah.
it's people get attacked by sharks in the forest. It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
so
amazing.
right up,
Yeah,
right,
it's perfect.
right in there. Yeah, so
He's like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
You could say something like, I love the West Wing, and DJ Arnott be like, yeah,
yeah,
totally.
no,
totally.
it's
West
just
Wing,
like
West Wing
listen, man.
zombies.
It's just like
Yeah.
please go contribute, man. Like I really want to make this comic happen.
Did you just wake up one morning with this idea, or is this something you've been developing over time?
So the idea came to me. I think I was rewatching Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, and if you've seen that movie, it ends with them sailing to an island to escape the zombies, which feels like something zombie movies do a lot. Like I want to go to an island, and it occurred to me like, what if that was the Jurassic Park island? Like that idea of like frying pan in the fire. And at first I was kind of like, that's a silly idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
And then
Yeah.
it like wouldn't leave me. And then I thought up the name Chaos Theory because of what that means to
Yeah.
dinosaurs. You know what I mean? And I was
right.
like, ah, damn, I'm doing this. Yeah. Shit, this is happening. Because then the challenge was, does it work? And I actually found a way that as crazy it is, that there actually is like the science that accidentally creates zombies is also two scientists were working together. And then they got separated, and one of them accidentally created zombies, and one of them used the same tech to resurrect dinosaurs. So when the lady that created the lady that
that's the key.
yeah the
Resurrection.
lady that came up with that accidentally created zombies was like, I need my partner that helped me with this,
Yeah.
and so they go to that island, and
Yeah.
oh shit, what's he been up to?
Oh shit.
And then for
Oh,
this
spare
one,
no expense.
and then spoilers for this one, you find out that the where they got the technology was they were both working at Area 51 with
Aliens.
Yeah, with aliens.
With aliens.
Yeah, with the alien that crashed there, and
always.
he hasn't aged at all. So they were trying to create basically like a longevity
I
thing.
get it.
Yeah,
This is just how
Yeah.
Mewtwo was cloned from Mew.
exactly.
God damn it,
Yeah,
DJ.
it all connects,
You got
man.
me.
And then in issue
got
4,
me.
Life
Mewtwo
always
shows
finds
up.
a way, you guys.
Yeah.
Life always finds a way.
It's like Pokemon. Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
It's
So,
like-
and I
yeah,
haven't
it is
even
like
gotten
Pokemon.
into the time travel or the kaiju's or any of that shit.
Fuck.
So
Oh,
it's all in there. ChaosTheoryComic.com. Again, $15. You get the whole thing digitally. If you want something physical, that starts at $20. There's T-shirts. It's just it's a whole smorgasbord.
How
thing.
much for a web series?
Well, this is some stretch goals. Those are some stretch goals.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
All right.
I love that concept. That's
Yeah.
a
I
cool
feel like
concept.
y'all could sell this to
Yeah.
studio, right?
Yeah, because originally, it's funny because originally I wanted to do something for a comic. That was my first comic, was the first one. I wanted to do something that I felt like you couldn't adapt, that could only
Right.
exist as a comic. And then I was thinking about it, as like, if you did, I would definitely go animate it. An animated
Nice.
series.
There you
That'd
go.
be dope.
There you
Yeah.
go.
That'd be dope.
Because if you try to do it
X-Cop.
live action, like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, it's like,
Nah, that
Yeah.
didn't work very well.
Animated is
Yeah.
just,
Didn't
oh,
work.
man.
Yeah.
Animated is the way to go. People are taking a lot of risk on after Rick and Morty. People are taking a lot of risks on animation right
Yeah,
now.
and so
yeah,
also
yeah.
if you're worried that like, oh man, it sounds just like crazy action all the time, yes, but there is heart. These characters, like the scientist that created the zombies is a new mom, and she's trying to. She was pregnant in the first one. She was slaying zombies while she was pregnant.
You gonna make me cry.
Yeah,
And then she had a baby while she was slaying a zombie.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah.
Okay.
So there's some heart of these characters. It's kind of
quiet
dealing with
shit.
like grief and failure and overcoming the apocalypse.
Nice.
Damn.
And then also zombies, aliens, dinosaurs, explosions.
Yeah,
Another good
yeah.
way to describe it is like Fallout
Yes.
but if dinosaurs were also there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fallout dinosaurs.
Yeah, because
Cool.
Fallout has a little bit of everything too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does have everything.
So there you go. That's the I guess a little bit longer than an elevator pitch. But yeah, it's a
Good pitch.
It's a big elevator.
It's a big project. It's the biggest undertaking I've ever done, and it's like if people show up, it will happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Sounds
Before
fun.
we go, we're gonna answer one question from the chat room. Mighty Wombat asks, "I'll be honest, I've grown sour on the Arrowverse the last couple years. But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Arrowverse? Am I missing anything? I'm missing the Arrowverse, which means I'm not up to date on it because there's just too much to watch.
Yeah. If you haven't checked out Black Lightning, you're missing that.
Black Lightning.
Yeah.
If you're not watching Legends,
Yeah, I like Legends.
Legends is great.
And I also like I like certain characters on Arrow, even though it's not my favorite show. And especially in the past season or two, then when they just went full superhero with it, I was like, that's fun.
Yeah.
And I also will always love, I think Cisco on The Flash is the best character out of any Arrowverse show, period. So like, even if there's a bad episode of The Flash that I'm sitting through, when Cisco pops in, I'm like,
You smile.
Cool, worth
you
it.
smile.
I'm like, cool, worth it. Yeah, I'm like, this
Yeah.
is a good use of my time.
Yeah.
I smile, I laugh. I love him and Tom Cavanaugh
Yep.
as Harry Wells. I'm like, and they found that combination recently,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
this is
Yeah.
sweet spot. So,
Yeah.
it's real fun. It reminds me of, especially the Legends, reminds me of like Xena, Hercules, Saturday afternoons from back in the day,
man.
with it's just like fun, cheesy television. And like we were all discussing earlier, I think so many people love it, and I think I love parts of it, and I love moments in the storytelling, especially that 4-part crossover where they fought Nazis. If you guys didn't see that came out and people were like, "Yo, this is better than Justice League," and you know what? They might have a case, very strong case for that.
Yeah.
I think the reason people love those shows is because it does give us certain similar comic book reading moments where it's like, I love this character. Oh shit, he knows this character. She knows that character. That's dope. What great storytelling opportunities. And they for the most part really pull it off. And they're able to pull off some really stupid, silly DC Comics ideas and concepts and villains. And they're able to kind of mainstream it to be like, oh, look at that. The Flash did the Fiddler, like a new version of the Fiddler. Like,
that was nuts.
Cool. Yeah, it's nuts. But I'm like, they're a little like
it's
make
there.
it work.
Yeah, I would say if you missed Arrow season 5, that's worth catching up on. If you missed the last 2 big crossovers, definitely worth catching up on.
Yep.
And on Flash, if you missed the introduction of Elastic Man.
Yes, Elongated Man.
Elongated Man. I'm so
Elongated
sorry.
Man.
Sorry, I always mix up the names with Plastic Man, Elongated Man. It becomes the one.
That's what Adam said earlier.
Yeah,
No,
Elastic
Elongated
Man.
Man, Ralph Dibny is dope, and
Yeah.
I love that character, and I was so happy that they brought him on the show. I was like, this is great.
His introduction episode might be my favorite episode this season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good.
Nice.
Also, the the first part of this week's Flash was amazing.
The intro?
The rest of the episode was okay. But that intro, that
6-minute
opening
prologue.
the opening
What was
moment,
the opening?
when Thinker is his plans are happening, and
Yeah.
so he faces a bunch of soldiers.
Yeah.
and it's amazing.
Yeah.
and then the rest of the episode's kind of let down, but that is great.
Okay. Okay.
It's cool stuff.
Another question from One Big Smile. Thank you so much for the tip. In the MCU, phases 1 through 3 were all leading up to Thanos. What do you think will be the next universal threat in these next 3 phases?
Thanos. No.
don't go Universal. Don't think Galactus. Don't think Living
No,
Tribunal.
no.
I think that Phase 4, if they don't do something like include the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, I
Right.
think Phase 4 can easily be something like Dark Reign or Secret Invasion era of Marvel Comics, where it's like, we don't know who's a Skrull and who isn't, and it's pared down and it's on Earth.
Yep.
Or Dark Reign, where it's like the next Spider-Man movie will introduce Norman Osborn, and then he becomes the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know what I mean? Where it's like, they're going to, I think that in the same way that these years have focused on the hero characters,
Right.
Marvel could easily go, we crushed it with Killmonger, we crushed it with Vulture, we crushed it with Thanos, now we're going to focus, we're going to bring back Zemo and
Right.
get into Zemo.
Right,
We're going to bring back
exactly.
Abomination and get into Emil Blonsky Abomination. We still have the rights to him.
could be
We're going to
cool.
bring back Red Skull. Like they can focus on villainous characters,
Yeah.
and I think that could be their next focus instead of heroes. It's like Phase 4 villains.
Yeah, I think Masters of Evil would be a good.
God
a good thing.
That would be
Damn.
fantastic. It would be the swing in the other direction, actually.
Yes.
Just kind of
It'd be great.
balance it out like Thanos was talking about.
yeah.
That's all things should be.
Plus, I think
That's
Feige,
something should be.
plus
Yeah.
I think Feige has talked about. I think I've read little pieces. He's talking about how after Phase 3 they don't necessarily want to keep going big and big and big. You got to kind of bring it in,
Right, right.
reel it in a little bit, and then slowly build it back up again. Because
Right,
if you just keep
exactly.
going from big to big to big, at one point it's going to implode on
You're
itself.
writing
and
yourself
it's-
into a
yeah.
corner.
It's
Like,
like
it's
event
not.
fatigue with the comics.
is.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like I don't pick up almost any event at this point
Yeah,
because it's
yeah.
usually not good.
Yeah, usually it's a letdown at the end.
Yeah.
But if I had to put money on it, I would probably go Secret Invasion, Skrulls, all that
Yeah.
stuff. Maybe House of M. Maybe. That's a bit of a stretch, though, because
Yeah.
they kind of led up to it, but it's not there. But for me, Secret Invasion is like a good way to go because it brings it back down home. You can tell a lot of great character stories, relationships who you thought were great. No, those don't count because they've been a Skrull the whole time. Yeah. Boom, done. How did Nick Fury lose his eye? Trusted a Skrull. Done.
Yeah.
Like what?
Fuck.
What is gonna happen? Like it's. I
what
think
if,
it's a
what
great
if Coulson gets
direction to go.
replaced by a Skrull in Captain Marvel?
What if
and
Coulson
that's who
is
does
a Skrull, dog?
the whole time?
Yes.
And real Coulson's alive somewhere still?
Yeah.
He is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I mean, but Augie's saying is
but
that
they like
since the
hijacked
90s,
Coulson
since
from
the 90s,
90s.
that's been a Skrull. No, because then when he got stabbed by Loki, he would have straight up turned into a Skrull.
Oh, that's
right
right.
there,
How he
and
would have
Fury would have been like, son of a bitch.
I'm just saying, like everybody could be a Skrull.
I'm very interested to see how they explain the fact that Thor was definitely the weirdest thing any of those characters had seen, and yet somehow in the 90s, Skrulls and Captain Marvel were a thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That's an interesting, kind of like, listen, man, Thanos was great in Infinity War. That was definitely a different Thanos than the Thanos we've been seeing in every other movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like that, the Thanos we saw in Infinity War was super proactive, and the other one we saw was just like, man, whatever, I'll let other people do it.
Yeah, exactly.
For like 18 movies,
He's
just
like,
or 12
this chair is very comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't feel like moving.
I don't feel like getting up, boy. But whatever, we'll find out. DJ, thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks for having me. This
Of
was a
course, man.
blast.
Of course, man. You're welcome here anytime.
Yeah.
Let the good people know where they can find you on the interwebs.
ChaosTheoryComic.com.
Nice.
Also, DJ talks trash every place that matters. Also, OnlyStupidAnswers.com if you want
Nice.
to see the stuff I do with Sam Basher.
Nice.
There you go.
Hector?
You find me on the internet at Hector is Funny. Look for new stuff that I do
Yeah.
All the time.
all the fucking
All the
time.
time. Hector, because it's nice. You know, DJ talks
Thank
trash
you.
isn't nice. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. It's accurate, but it's not nice.
Yeah.
I've been really reflecting on because they had the hashtag explain your handle a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where people were like, "I'll explain my Twitter handle," and I reflected on it. I was like, for real, it was because I was afraid / internally racist and assumed that white people would not remember my Mexican last name. So I was like, I'll keep it simple. Hector is Funny.
There you go.
That may
Yeah.
have gotten me more jobs and more
absolutely.
than Hector Navarro. Maybe. I don't know.
We don't know.
We'll never know.
You
No.
can see it in the tweet numbers because I'm at @L_Santo Taco and I have the least followers of all you motherfuckers. So none of these white people understand my name.
People should hear the good word of El Santo Taco.
Yeah, exactly. El Santo Taco.
Yes.
They're like, what is that? Is that a band? Is that a restaurant? I don't understand.
Hallelujah, El Santo Taco.
Lucas,
I hope you start a band called El Santo Taco.
It's a good bit
and
when
a
Lucas
restaurant.
laughs.
yeah. So yeah, L_Santo Taco. That's
Bring
me.
back DJ on the show, you guys.
Thanks.
We will. 100%.
Also,
Yeah.
somebody earlier said, but Mario in live action, wouldn't that be really cheesy? The answer is yes, but also watch Nacho Libre because I would cast Jack Black.
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
that shit is cheesy, but I love it so
yeah.
much.
Nope, racial appropriation. He's not
Yeah.
Italian.
No, we'd let it slide. In this, we'd let it slide.
Yeah.
That's the one thing Hector will let it slide for is this Mario movie.
Yeah, I would. I really
Hector,
would.
you're the worst.
Yeah.
You can just find me at Adam Havoc. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/hyperrpg, and we'll catch you next week.